Need some coins for that God Squad you've always wanted? For fast and cheap coins, check out instantmudcoins.com and use code ZERK for 20% off. Link is in the description.
The whole thing wobbin', wobbin'. When I come around, got the whole thing wobbin'.
What's going on, guys? It's Zirksee coming at you today with another YouTube video, and today I'm going to be doing the 50 promo review, kind of my thoughts on it all, but also I'm choosing my free player. Now, I do want to give a shout out to CMZ the Beast for being a part of the Nota Gang. If you guys want a chance to be shout out in the next video, drop a like in the vid, make sure you guys are subbed to the channel, to the notification bell on, and comment down below Nota Gang. Also, if you guys missed my Legends video from this morning, go check it out because the pack luck was insane. But in case you guys didn't know how I'm about to get this free player right here, if you head on over to the weekly 50 solos, go ahead and get all the solo challenges done. You have to do literally every single solo challenge. I've got them all done over here. I still have to work on them for the No Money Spent account, but I have like 9 weeks done, or like 8.5 weeks done, I think, over on the No Money Spent account. If you haven't played a single of the 50 solo, it'll probably take you like 7 hours, like 7 to 8 hours. It takes a long time to go ahead and do, but is it worth it to do? Absolutely. So let's go ahead and get into it, and I'm going to pick my free the 50 player, but this is actually also going to be part of the review because this is going to help me showcase to you guys all of the players that we got. Yes, you guys can choose literally any player you want. I have gone through and also already made a video going over the best 50 players for you guys to go ahead and choose. I made that video before we got this week, so that way, you know, you have a little bit of a head start taking a look at the groups of players we already had. And if there's any new players that came out, like Barry, Kevin Wire, LT, you can choose one of these three. But as for the rest of the players from this pack, I've already gone over, in my opinion, the best ones to go ahead and choose. So before I actually go ahead and select my player that I want to go ahead and pick, let's talk about the 50 and the player selections. Now, I know this is only weeks 8 through 15, so I'm going to have to go back and take a look at weeks 1 through 7 as well, just to showcase for you guys. But I can go ahead and hop on over to the stats to show you guys that. So let's start off with week 8. Right here. So we got Ed Reed, Champ Bailey, Brian Finneran. So the first part of my review is really going to be simply just the player selections they decided to do. Honestly, I feel like the players they selected to do with the 50 promo were pretty good, right? And now, at this point, we already know that really this is just the Madden 25 all-time team. If you head on over to Madden 25, you load up the Play Now mode, and you go to the all-time team, it's like the same exact team. That's what's funny about it. But I do think there were a couple of key players missing from this. Peyton Manning was definitely one. I feel like Charles Woodson could have potentially made this, but you have to think, you know, they have people planned for other stuff as well. Charles Woodson could have been in here. I saw a lot of people talking about Marshall Faulk. I don't know if Marshall's actually going to be able to go ahead and, like, be in Madden because of the stuff going on with him, with legal stuff going on, I'm pretty sure. And then also, CJ2K, I feel like should have been in consideration because Chris Johnson is always one of those guys who's like a combine master, always in the game. And there were some other players that maybe they could have added in here. You guys can let me know down below who you guys think they should have added in this. But in terms of were the players good? Ed Reed, Champ Bailey, and Brian Finneran. Brian Finneran definitely deserved to be in here. I know the card isn't good, but he deserved to be in here because he definitely is one of those, like, you know, the 50 players, one of the 50 best Madden players of all time, people that, one of the players that people get excited about, like Tyrone Calico. He's just a tall wide receiver that was glitchy. I'm okay with that and him being in this promo. Champ Bailey, Ed Reed, of course, they got to be in here. Dwight Freeney, Darrell Revis, Adrian Peterson. Cool. Sebastian Janikowski, it's a kicker. Calvin Johnson, obviously we had to have Calvin Johnson in here. Warren Sapp, Shane Leckler, Ray Lewis, Aaron Rodgers, Devin Hester had 100 speed before. Julius Peppers, Mike Allstott, Sean T, Larry Allen, Rob Gronkowski, Dion Moss, Vic. Obviously, I feel like this week right here, the Dion Moss Vic week, that was like the makes most sense week, right? Like, oh, these three guys, yeah, every single year they're going to be in the game. LT, Kevin Mawai, and Barry Sanders. I know a lot of people are not a big fan of the offensive lineman being in this promo, but I feel like they had to throw O-lineman in here just because they had to fill the gaps. Before I go ahead and actually show you guys the weeks 1 through 7 players, give you guys my opinion on those, the weeks 8 through 15, I felt like we're honestly pretty solid. I really do. I feel like they're pretty solid. I would give these players because I feel like every single week we at least had 1 to 2 like really usable cards, right? I mean, like every single week, all these guys are really usable. Ray Lewis, unfortunately, middle linebackers just aren't good, but We had Aaron Rodgers. We had a punter there. We had Sebastian Janikowski. We really had a usable player or two every single week. There was just no doubt about that. And as for my free player, I'm taking LT. That was weeks 8 through 15. Let's take a look at the other week. So for week 1 of the promo, we had Brian Dawkins, Nnamdi Asomugha, Derek Brooks, Reggie White, Walter Jones, Jimmy Graham, Tyrone Calico, and Reggie Bush. Again, I feel like a really solid week. Reggie Bush is still some people's favorite running back in the game, or at least was until we just got those new receiving backs. Like we got the Christian McCaffrey, we got the Alvin Kamara. People were using Reggie Bush for months because he was a receiving back and still really good. Calico was super glitchy at the beginning. Jimmy Graham was okay. Walter Jones, an offensive lineman. Reggie White was really good. Derek Brooks, a linebacker, so Nnamdi, really good. Brian Dawkins was pretty good. Week 2, Taylor Mays is the perfect embodiment of what this promo was. That type of player. Taylor Mays, not really a great NFL player, but great in Madden. That's what this promo basically was. Ryan Shazier and Vincent Jackson, although, we did have some legends and stuff like that. I feel like one key player they also missed out on was Dre Archer. They should have had him in the game. Dre Archer was such a beast in Madden 16, I think. I want to say it was Madden 16 with Dre Archer. He was everyone's favorite running back for that year. He should have been in this, for sure. Ryan Shazier and Vincent Jackson. On to week number 3, we had DRC, Steve Hutchinson, Brett Favre. 2 definite hits with DRC and Brett Favre. Love to see DRC back. Then the next week, we got Antonio Cromartie. Another big-time hit right there. Patrick Willis, again, middle linebackers or whatever. But Vernon Davis, again, a big-time W there. Week 5, we had Javon Curse, we had Orlando Pace, and LaDainian Tomlinson. I mean, as I said, every single week they at least have one good player. Julio Jones here with Culpepper, who was the best quarterback in the game for a while. Albert Haynesworth right there. Anthony Barr, Jonathan Ogden, Antonio Gates. This was probably the worst week. I'll say this was probably the worst week here. And that was it for weeks 1 through 7. So overall, I will give the player selection, I mean, honestly, as I said, every single week, except for week 7, because this one was just bad, in my opinion. Antonio Gates was not the best tight end in the game. Anthony Barr is a linebacker, which unfortunately just isn't good. And then Jonathan Ogden, not exciting there. I would say the player selection, maybe even too low of a rating here. I give it an 8.5. I honestly think it was a really, really good player selection. Some people are going to say, oh, well, they just did legend upgrades and legend stuff. Well, those are some of the best players in the game. Randy Moss, Deion Sanders, Mike Vick. Yeah, they're players we get every single year, but they're also 50 of the best Madden players of all time. So overall, the player selections I felt were really good. But one thing I will say about this promo that I feel like they just did bad was making these sets the only way to get power-ups for some of these players, because that was terrible. Now, when they did players like Mike Vick, Deion, where they had legend solos already for them, so you could go through, play that, and get the power-up, that was cool. But, for some of these players, the only way to get the power for, DRC was by doing the set. So having 300, 400, 500,000 coin power-ups, not good. That was a big fat L for this promo. Probably the worst part about this promo was the fact there was no other way to get the power-ups. They weren't in packs. They are now because they added them in for some of the sets, for some of the weeks here. But they should have instantly added those players to at least packs, if not given us a solo to do. That was terrible. And one other thing I didn't really like about this promo was how they upped the overalls, especially towards, here. Yes, obviously they're going to be up in the overalls, but here's the thing. People go ahead and they stockpile these overall players to try to be ready for the next week and get them for a little bit cheaper, midweek. So when they brought out week 13 and they were 95 overalls with Sean T, Larry Allen, and Gronk, and you guys can see, week 12, they were in 94s. It was whatever because we had a couple weeks in 94s, but then the very next week, they jumped to 96s. So everyone who bought up all of these 85 overall players just lost so much value there because now they're only used for one set. The value just dropped a ton. Those were two things I really did not like. I wish they would have given us a heads up and just said, hey, this is the final week of this overall increase next week, so that way people didn't stock up on those players. But one big W here is definitely the solos. Now, yes, they take a while to do, but anything that's rewarding is going to take a while to go ahead and do. Being able to go ahead and get that NAT fresh player, like the 85 NAT is whatever, but really, being able to get 2 free players from this entire promo was really, really sweet. Being able to get that NAT stack player from weeks 1 through 7, and then the pack I just showed you, weeks 8 through 15. I think was awesome. This was a big W because they could have definitely just like waited until the last week and then give you a fantasy pack of all the players. At least they gave us 2 and it was midway through for 1. And I guess the final thing to talk about would be the packs that came out in the store with this, with the 50 fantasy pack. Now they also did have which I don't think it's actually in the store anymore. I don't think they did it for like the past few weeks, or at least I haven't been able to find it. The one like 85 plus or whatever pack for a small amount of points. That was a big W there. The fantasy packs themselves are like hit or miss for me. Like, I just really feel like these are never really worth their coin value this year. They just never really were worth it. You guys see round number 2 here. We get an 80 overall, Team Week in 83. Round 3, we get 94 overall Devin Hester. Of course, as I said, they're not worth it. We get a 94 overall Devin Hester. That's just the Zirk look, you know, it's just the Zirk look. You guys understand. Let's do one more, though. Let's do one more. But for 140,000 coins, I really don't think these packs are worth it at all. Yes, you can get lucky and pull a full one, like I just did with Devin Hester there. And then in round number 2 here, we get 86 and 83. Round 3, though, you can get a pack like this. We're getting 86 overall. Barry Sanders. For the 50-player overall, I feel like the player selections, good. The solos, really, really good. The packs themselves, buying them with coins, terrible value, to be honest with you. Like, really, really bad value there. But that's what they're there for. Packs in the game are there to make you lose coins. As simple as that. And then when it comes to, like, the power-ups, not having a solo or being in packs to go ahead and pull until, you know, way, way later when those cards are basically irrelevant, pretty bad. So I would say overall this promo, I think the number one thing about this promo, of course, is going to be, for me, getting something for free and the actual content of it. So outweighing the sets being bad, the power-ups and everything like that, I still would give this 50 promo because the player selections that they did and everything like that, like a 7.5. I feel like that's pretty good. I feel like it was honestly, overall, a pretty good promo. They had a lot of good players, maybe a couple of misses, maybe a couple of players they just didn't get the rights to, or couldn't get the rights to, like Dre Archer would have been so phenomenal to see him in the game. And then also, as I said, no power-ups. I feel like only being able to get the powers from the sets and having them be 400K, that was a big fat L with this promo. But with that being said, guys, I hope you did enjoy the video, and if you did, make sure to drop a like in the video, and of course, hit that sub button down below. Let me know down below what you guys thought about the 50 promo. I feel like overall, it was a W. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys next time.